Gates. That is on the table, apparently, and our troops going to be increased to fight the rogue militias. And how are we going to start diplomatic relations with Iran and maybe Syria? Joining me is P.J. Crowley, Senior Fellow and Director of National Defense and Homeland Security, the Center for American Progress, and Rowan Scarborough, ace Pentagon reporter for the Washington Times and author of Rumsfeld's War. PJ, I know you're a diplomatist, and everyone is saying in the newspapers that the Baker Group is going to advise Mr. Bush to have a blue ribbon panel for some kind of secret summit. If you look at the top of the Drudge Report front page today, PJ, Iran is closer to nuclear weapons than ever before, and what is more, on the front page of the New York Sun, Iranians are training al-Qaeda terrorists to attack our GIs. These guys aren't our best friend, PJ.
Well, no, they haven't been for 30 years. But obviously what happens in Iraq will influence Iran, and Iran's going to have influence. It already does have influence in Iraq. The question is whether you can talk to them. We ironically had very constructive engagement with Iran during the Bonn summit that led to the current situation in Afghanistan. So the two countries have common understandings. I think that if you were able to cooperate with Iran on Iraq, you might find openings to solve the problem with the nuclear issue as well.
Well, Rowan Scarborough, some are saying now, with Mr. Gates coming into the Pentagon to take control, that the so-called light-footed strategy of Mr. Abizaid, of General Abizaid, which has not worked, will ultimately cause a change in personnel. Either he's pushed out or he resigns. What can you tell us about that? Because we've never really had that thing with our generals over there.
Sure. Both of the four stars who are running the war have been doing it for a while. And when you hear the president say he wants a fresh perspective, I have to think that that goes more than just to the top civilian. I would think that when Gates is confirmed and gets in, he's going to want a fresh perspective from a number of people, including his policy shop and including his field generals. And, you know, I'm not knocking the job that General Abizaid or General Casey are doing. This is the toughest enemy, officers tell me over there, that they've ever conceived of facing. But a fresh perspective means just that, and changing one person doesn't give you that. So I would not be surprised with Secretary Gates looking at 2 years down the road that he would want to put his own team in to come up with, new strategies.
Well, PJ, again, speaking as I do every night as somebody who wants to win the war and who still believes 3 democratic elections later, Iraq is a much better place without Saddam Hussein. It sounds to me like Gates is going to change strategy. We're going to put more troops in, and we're going to use those additional troops, whatever, 20,000 or so, to clean out the rogue brigades and militias. What do you think, PJ? Is that going to be part of the Gates strategy shift?
I mean, I don't think that you're going to see an addition of U.S. forces, but that's not Abizaid's strategy. That was Rumsfeld's strategy.
People say those were both. They were hand in hand. That is an interesting point. People say that Abizaid proposed it and Rumsfeld went along with it.
Well, but here's the deal, and I agree with exactly what Rowan said. You know, Casey's been at this coming up on 2 years, Abizaid for 3 years. I'd like to think that one of the two should be the next chief of staff of the Army to help institutionalize, the insurgent lessons learned that we have from Iraq. And if another general can do that better, all power to them. I would remind people, though, that 3 years ago, after the invasion, the team that led us in the invasion, Tommy Franks, Dave McKiernan, left. And the guys that replaced them, Rick Sanchez and Paul Bremer, are the ones who actually screwed it up. So whether there's a normal transition of the generals who are fighting this war, we can't afford to lose the knowledge that they have. Once they're in place and Gates is on board, if he wants to make a normal rotation of generals, that's certainly fine.
Ron Scarborough, take us out, last half minute. Will all these changes include a change of Prime Minister Maliki? Many people believe he will not prosecute the Shia militias and death squads. Is Maliki going to go too, Rowan?
No, we're stuck with him. He was elected.
And do you think the democracy will hold up, Rowan?
That's question number one, Larry.
And will they have a two-pronged attack? Is it possible more troops, maybe some new field commanders, and negotiations around the Middle East? Is all that in the mix?
All of that is in the mix, Larry. But the Iraq Survey Group is very important right now, and we'll know more in December.
All right, great stuff.
But Larry, one point.
PJ, 5 seconds.
If Maliki doesn't attack the militias, we can't succeed in Iraq.
Well, somebody's got to take him out, for God's sakes. Anyway, P.J. Crowley, Rowan Scarborough, my last word in the great